Hey everyone, welcome back to another DTF Superstore live stream. That music was a bop. I definitely I was digging that track that I picked for that intro. So hey, welcome. If you are on, do me a favor, wherever you're commenting from, wherever you're watching from, do me a favor and put in the chat where you're located, where you're watching from. We love seeing everybody across literally the globe on a lot of these things. And again, always trying to find the best time for everyone. Hey, Kevin. Kevin is one of our techs. He does installs. He is amazing. He also does all the DTF days with me. So, so hop on. Let us know where you're watching from and get your questions in the chat. We are going to cover today some Digital Factory stuff. Everybody calls it CADLink. Officially, it's not actually CADLink anymore. This is a funny little talking point because still, if you go to cadlink.com, it still pulls up. But Fiery is the parent company now. They purchased CADLink. And so Digital Factory specifically is what we're talking about. We're talking about the RIP software, Digital Factory 11. Hey, Dwight, Childersburg, Alabama. Are you getting any of the moisture from that hurricane? Nah, it's probably too far west for you. But for those, we got a lot of folks in Texas, especially Houston area and stuff like that. So definitely thoughts and prayers go out to you guys with the hurricane that is very much over your state right now. So, so we're going to talk about Digital Factory today. We're going to talk about specifically how to get really deep, rich blacks. I know there's a design trend out there to do black logos or black text on a black shirt. And if you're not getting true blacks, it's going to be a problem. So this is actually a solution we were working with a customer here locally to figure out how to get a black. It was kind of like a Batman looking logo going on a black shirt. Everything else are like, it prints fine. Yeah, but when you're going to other colors, the black looks fine. But when you put black on black, makes a huge difference or really, really noticeable. As you guys see, I am working on my back wall. Let me see if I can scan this thing up and let you guys see my back wall. So working on it. Got a few more. I need to do a few more shirts. A couple more designs I need to do, but yeah. All right. So if there's no questions so far, again, feel free to let us know where you're watching from and questions, get them in the chat. I will answer any DTF question you got. Literally any DTF question you got. All right. So here we are in Digital Factory. If your Digital Factory doesn't look like this, it's because you need to update it. Even if you have Digital Factory 11, you might still be using the old interface, which is kind of the light colored one. There are a lot of things with the new interface. We actually did a video on it. If you just search our YouTube channel for all of the new things in Digital Factory 11, it's a new user interface. And this new user interface is a lot better than the old one. There's the controls here on the side are far superior. I don't know if you've ever noticed before, but when you added copies before, you lost your ability to do your color adjust. Those are all still there. When you do add copies, it gives you the ability to control them here. But then if you're like, oh, wait, I don't want copies, you can remove copies right there. So really, really easy. It does take some getting used to if you're familiar with a different, like the old layout. So, all right. But what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about right on cue, Derek. When printing, my printer wants to mix CMYK to get solid black. I have to go in and change the color to 100% black. How can I change without doing color change? It's kind of exactly what I'm going to answer, but I'm going to disagree with you. You don't want to use 100% K. And I'll explain as we get into this. You don't want to use just 100% K. And all RIP softwares are going to give you some kind of mixture of cyan, magenta, yellow into that K. But to get a really deep, true black, you have to mix in other colors with it, not just the black. So here's the workflow in Digital Factory on how to get your blacks to print as like a true black. So Once you've loaded your file in, you're going to click on this little color palette here, like Bob Ross used to use. So you're going to click on that. It will take a moment to upload, or to bring up the panel. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to select the black color. We're going to give it a range that it's going to work within. And then, ooh, hold on one second. It looks like it's not letting me. It's not showing the window that popped up. So give me 1 second to add that back in. Momentary delay. Let's go stop screen sharing. Okay. All right. Now, there we go. There it is. All right. So it's going to bring up this window. This is your graphic you're working with. I'm going to click on this black color, what should be black. And you're going to see the input color of the RIP software basically is taken. And I guarantee you in this original file, I was 100% black. Now, or 100% on like zeros all the way because I edit in RGB. We've had this discussion before. Best to edit your stuff in RGB and then let the RIP software convert it to CMYK. But anytime you're doing it, anytime it's ripping, it's going to kind of mix some of those other colors in because it knows that when you set up a print profile or print mode in Digital Factory or any RIP software, it's going to ask how it wants or how you want it to calculate the blacks or the grays. If you do your grays with just the K, just the black channel, they look faded. They won't be as deep and rich. And a lot of times your RIP softwares are doing it without you even realizing it. But when you when you build a profile out, it's going to ask you how to handle the grays, how it handles that grayscale. So basically what you're going to do in here is you're taking the input color, which is that black color, but then you're dictating what the output is. Now, in most cases, the output you want for a rich black is 40 cyan, 40% cyan, 40% magenta, 40% yellow, and 100% K or black. Now, I have seen some systems where 60% cyan, 40 magenta, 40 yellow, 100 K or 100 black works well. But in all of my testing that I've personally done, it's 40% across the board. So I do 40, 40 here, 40, 40, 100. Now you're like, Jeremy, but then you're mixing all these colors in. Well, in the color theory, the cyan, magenta, yellow combine together to make black, just like in like an RGB profile, red, green, and blue. Red, green, and blue combine to make white. Now, the cyan, magenta, yellow does not create a true like deep black. But that's why we add the K, the black, into it. But again, that black by itself lacks a little bit of depth of color. It looks a little flat. And especially when you do a black on black, you'll notice a big difference. So you set your output to 40% cyan, 40% magenta, 40% yellow, 100% black. If you want to try some different values, you can. I did try one time doing the cyan 50s or the magenta or 60, the magenta at 60, the yellow at 60. And when I went all of them at 60, it looked just muddy. It didn't look very clean. But 60% cyan for some people works well. I, again, just found that 40% across the board works really good. And then this tolerance is how close to the input color, do you want that black for Digital Factory to force it to this new rich black? In most of my testing, 5 was pretty good. Anything that was relatively close to black ended up going the full black there. And then, so what you want to do is once you convert it here, you click add. And that adds this little color replacement here. This checkbox on top says apply to all incoming jobs in this queue. So basically, if you don't check this top one, it's just going to do the color replacement for this specific graphic. If you click this box up here, it's going to apply to every single job that comes in. So even though you've done your ICC profile and everything's pretty well dialed, sometimes your blacks look a little bit muddy. And so this is how we're going to make sure that every black that comes through is a true, deep, rich black. So you can click on that if you want to, or don't bother clicking on it. It's up to you. I'm going to click on it and hit apply. Now it says the preview color substitutions, click the color replacement preview button. I'm not worried about that. This is when you're like doing dramatic wholesale changes to colors, like taking a blue and making it green, or using some kind of spot color or something like that. Oh, I didn't cover the other button. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can pull that thing back up. So if you want to see what color replacements you're using, you go to Devices, Manage Color Replacements. And then that one, yeah, that one just removes the color replacement as a whole. So I do try to figure out what every little button does, because the last thing I want to do is be like, just don't click on this button, because I don't think you should click on this button. Let's see. Looking at a couple of questions. So Derek popped up. What describing is what I have to do to get rich blacks. If not, looks brown. Yeah, exactly. It just looks muddy. Depending on the mixture that your profile or ICC profile is throwing in there for blacks, it might look a little tinted to a certain color. But yeah, Derek, I would encourage you, try 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 100. I would also try bumping like the cyan to 60 and then the other 240 and 100, then bring that back down to 40 and try the magenta at 60 with everything else 40. So every machine might be a little bit different, but I'm going to encourage you to try some different settings and then press them on a black shirt. Now, that being said, this black shirt is a Port Authority black t-shirt. That one up there, those are UX print black shirts, which are a little deeper of a black color. So just be aware that different shirts will have almost like a different depth of the black. And so you might get differing results on different shirts and stuff like that. So, and then we got a question here. What's the best software to use? So if you're talking RIP software, best software that we have right now that we're working with is Digital Factory. Digital Factory does a lot of amazing things. There are a lot of other RIP softwares out there. They will have different features, functions. We are looking at possibly adding some new RIP softwares to our stable of RIPs. But Digital Factory does a great job. Mostly the reason I love it is because it does automatic white underbase. It does variable white underbase. So these areas here that are black will have less white under these areas, these colored areas. So I love it for that standpoint. Also, the auto nesting does just an amazing job. It optimizes your print area super, super quick and easy. And it's a pretty easy, straightforward software to use. So we definitely love it for sure. Yeah, if you guys have questions on Digital Factory, drop them in. If you got questions generally about DTF as a whole, drop them in there. Looks like we have a little lighter attended live stream today, which is not a problem. Like I said, we're still feeling out this time. I think 10's maybe a little bit on the early side, but then again, so let's talk about. Ooh. Off top, where can you get the multicolor swatches on the codes? Like that thing up there, or for this shirt. So this shirt's a little bit of a beast because it's just a bunch of gradients, and I actually put on the on the bottom of it here, it says, "Can screen printing do this?" A little bit of my challenge to screen printers. But anyway, with the codes written on it, like that one up there, I've got that one up there. The folks that come to my boot camp get that graphic. I don't find it really helpful to have the code written on the graphic. I find it best when you're matching color swatches, because you want those color swatches to be the biggest possible on a shirt, and then just click it and you can see the hex code or the CMYK number in there. But while we're waiting to see if any other questions come through, I will talk about a couple things coming up. So first things first, if you haven't already, check out the more recent video on our YouTube channel. Phil did a video on how to do the halftoning stuff that we've done a ton of in Photoshop, or in without Photoshop. It doesn't work quite the same. It doesn't quite have the same levels of finesse that we do in Photoshop, but it uses Photopea to do it. So if you can't afford Photoshop, or you're wanting to see if there's another workflow, check out that video. Coming out tomorrow morning, I'm doing a collaboration with a YouTube channel out of Spain. She does a lot of like hand-drawn artwork. There's your little hint right there. But she does a lot of colored pencil, acrylic art, stuff like that. And so we did a collaboration where she's showing a video of how to digitize the physical artwork and then create a shirt design out of it. And then I took her design and I optimized it for DTF. So I did some halftoning to it. I did some different kind of knockouts. We went on a white shirt, so we did a little bit lower white underbase. So definitely check out both of those videos tomorrow. The channel is called Fancy Looks. She is from Spain. A lot of her audience is in Mexico, so her stuff is in Spanish. So you will have to put on auto translate subtitles, but she's absolutely amazing. So I was really stoked to get to work with her on that project. So that video is coming out tomorrow. Also, a year ago, we started our year-long test to see how long you can store a transfer. And that video is going to be coming out in probably another week or so. I just pressed the last one yesterday, and I'm not going to tell you what happened. It might have gone sideways, or it might not have. You'll just have to watch the video to find out. And then boot camp, DTF boot camp. We've got one coming up this week. We do boot camps every single month here in Gilbert. So if you go on our website, you'll see, I think August is the only one that's the next one that's scheduled. September and October, we haven't quite scheduled those yet, because September and October are going to be crazy. So first things first, if you're in the New England area, on August 22nd, we will be in the Boston area. We're doing a DTF day. I think we're in Hopkinton is the name of the city. So keep your eye on our website, DTF Superstore, for that. Then we will be at Printing United in Las Vegas. I'll be there the whole week. Come find me. Come say, hey, I'd love to chat with you. But we're going to have a booth there. You can come see all the stuff that we've got. Our Super Shaker we're going to have there. And then the week after that, if you're in the New York, New Jersey area, we're going to be at Mamaki on the Thursday after Printing United. I want to say it's like the 17th or the 19th, something like that. I'll double check those dates. We'll be in New Jersey. 3 weeks after that, we're going to be at Mamaki in Dallas, Fort Worth. So if you're in the Texas area, we're going to be at Mamaki doing a mini boot camp, as well as demoing a lot of really awesome tools that Mamaki offers for printers. And then 2 weeks after that, or 3 weeks after that, I'll be back in Dallas, Fort Worth again, but this time for Impressions. And I can finally announce that I am teaching at Impressions. I just signed off all the paperwork. Looks like I'm going to be teaching 2 classes, one on achieving the softest hand feel and pressing techniques, and then one session that is the halftoning. And so I will be at Impressions in Dallas, Fort Worth as well. So Lots of stuff going on. Very exciting. Let me see. I got a couple other questions. No, there is not a way that we have found to do the half toning in Corel. Now, I say that you can make halftone dots in Corel. You can create a halftone art file, but the halftone color knockout, which is basically what we're doing a halftone, color knockout using halftones to address the fades. We've not found any workflow or solution in Corel Draw for that. And you can't even do it in Illustrator. It's really a Photoshop specific thing. Photopea is a online Photoshop kind of knockoff software. So yeah, it is a little annoying that you can't do it in any other software. Digital Factory 11 does do some half toning. I'm not a particularly huge fan of it. I know if the rep that is on all the Facebook groups is watching, he's probably even annoyed that I say that. But I have found that it doesn't give you the same level of finesse and ability to tweak with the settings. And I'm not a big fan of the preview files in Digital Factory. Even if you bump your preview resolution up to high, it just slows the computer way down. I think that Digital Factory is one of the best rip softwares out there. And I suggest use it for ripping only, not for graphic design. So that's my personal opinion. Some people like the results they get with the half toning, but for what we do, for what I do to get the best results that I can, I am going to use Photoshop every day of the week, even if Digital Factory does it. So if we find some other software, like I said, we found a workflow with Photopea, so that's why Phil made that video to share that so we could show you guys some options. But yeah, there's really not Corel, Affinity, none of those other ones really do any kind of half toning. So I wish I had a better answer, but I'm still going to suggest that you be on Photoshop because Photoshop and Illustrator are the industry standards. Let's see. What's the best way to print using two different printers, but only having one program like CADLink? I just got a second printer and a new laptop. So officially, CADLink really only works with one printer at a time. Depending on what you're printing, if you're printing directly from the laptop, you're just gonna have two separate machines, two separate CADLinks, that kind of stuff. If it exports to PRNs, and then you open up HostingSoft to load the PRN that was built from CADLink, you could just drop those PRNs into the different machines, but know that machine's going to profile differently. So Derek, if you have two Chinese-based machines that are not, even in my experience, the Mamaki is the only printer that profiles can move from one to the other and be pretty consistent. There are some slight variations we've noticed, but it's relatively consistent. With the Chinese manufactured machines, when we took one profile from one machine and stuck it on another, we got wildly different results. So there might be some workarounds if you're using HostingSoft to load that stuff in, but ultimately, especially if you're going to be running those two machines at the same time, you really want to have a second version of CADLink and that second laptop, so their laptop is dedicated per machine. Carol, what's going on with you? Enjoying the lack of humidity here, but it was 116 yesterday, so humidity 116 degrees. It is what it is. I'll take what I can get. So anyway, all right. Well, if there's no other questions, we're going to have an actual short live stream this week with only 30 minutes. A lot of times these things drag on to be like an hour plus, and that's never necessarily my intention because I know y'all got work to do. You all are, you got businesses to run, and I, when I take your time, I want to try to make it as valuable as possible. So I appreciate you guys checking in. All right. BFit, since your face isn't on there, your name's not on there, I'm not gonna have a clue who you are, but we'll see you in impressions. Yeah, Carol just had a couple of our VMAX Super Shakers installed. We, as we've been working on those, we've definitely found that fume extraction and the kind of like volume of air that's being pulled out is kind of a big factor in there. But yeah, no, I appreciate Carol and any of the other folks that have picked up those BMAC dryers, because not only hopefully are they finding it to be a better experience overall, but they're helping us test so we can continue to make these products better for everyone. Dwight, I did not find a source for larger pieces of sandpaper just yet. I think I might have found one, but I got distracted with like a couple other projects that I had to do. We've got some new products on the horizon here shortly at DTF Superstore that we're pretty stoked about, that I've been testing with, developing, and playing with. So again, that's part of my role as R&D and education is I just play with stuff. So like there's all sorts of like random things in my office. That thing back there, that stuff over there. It's just, I love it. It's a good time. So that's a great question, Derek. I don't have a clue. No, I'm just kidding. What I would do is I'd probably like for DTF, if you go to dtfprinting.com, that's an industry site that will post about all the events that are going on. They'll post about like some of the smaller events, some of the bigger events. It's kind of a good resource for everything in general. For screen printing stuff, I know screenprintingmag.com tends to have a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I think those are going to be your best sources for like industry things that are going on. When it comes to what's going on with us, newsletter. Like we send out a newsletter anytime we're doing an event. So if you go to our website, dtfsuperstore.com, and then there usually is a pop-up if it's your first time there or something like that. But there's a link on the page to sign up for the newsletter. And that's the best way to know what kind of events we're putting on. So definitely jump on that. Soon, Carol, soon. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And we got another one. Dwight, shoot me an email. Jeremy@dtfsuperstore.com. Wait, do I have it here? Oh, I got it right here. There you go. So Dwight, email me. Let me know, because I definitely want to find a source for that sandpaper. And then I want to run it through some tests, because I have a sneaky suspicion that there might be a point where it deteriorates and the sand starts falling off of it. But anyway, all right. Finally going to wrap this up for the second or third time. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And again, look out for that collaboration with the channel Fancy Looks tomorrow, where we create some pretty cool shirts. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.